This video will provide information on some common errors in order to help ensure that your application with the Division of Professions and Occupations is processed efficiently. All applications for licensure with the division are provided a checklist that outlines the parameters for licensure. Checklists for an application are not requirements for licensure. They simply list required information for an application. If you are not sure if something is applicable to your application, make sure to read rules and regulations for your actual licensing requirement. To access your application links, you may visit dpo.colorado.gov and select your profession or occupation under the pull-down menus at the bottom of the page. Each license type has its own licensing services box that will take you to a profession-specific application area. Your license application checklist will be housed there. A separate video on how to apply for a license is also available on dpo.colorado.gov under informational videos. But for now, here are some other tips and tricks to attempt and steps to avoid. Do not apply too early in the process. Some applicants want to apply before graduation. That isn't possible. Submitted applications are valid for 1 year from the date received. So for example, if you apply and don't meet the qualifications, you only have 12 months to meet the requirements. If you take longer than a year to meet these qualifications, you will need to reapply and pay a new application fee. Those applicants who are on provisional licenses working toward a full license must be certain that they have accumulated the required hours before applying. Criminal background checks are required for many professions, but these checks will only occur after applying, so you should submit for the background check around the same time as applying for best results. For healthcare professions specifically, please be aware that while there is a great need for healthcare professionals in the workplace in Colorado, and while you may have a job offer in hand, it is imperative that you take the exam, and reviews of testing cannot be rushed without certain requirements being met. Most importantly, transcripts are either unofficial or official. Unofficial transcripts are not accepted. Transcripts must list degree earned and conferral date, so if the transcript does not include those elements, your application won't be accepted. As noted previously, degree received and conferral date must be printed on the transcripts. A letter from the registrar is not accepted. Please make sure your official transcript showing degree earned and conferral date is uploaded or attached to the application. If your official transcript isn't attached, a delay will likely occur in processing your application. For nursing, if you are claiming Colorado as your home state, having proof of Colorado residency is required, and your application is incomplete until you have residency. There are several other areas that applicants will want to avoid while applying. Avoid submitting improper or illegible documentation. Applicants have to use board-approved forms in some cases, so examine the checklist that accompanies your profession or occupation and/or the online application instructions to be certain. The more handwriting you use, the more risk there is of having an illegible document that delays your application. Please try to use pre-fillable forms as much as possible. Incomplete applications will delay processing. If you don't submit required documentation, it potentially won't go through the system for applicant review. Also, make sure you are submitting the correct documentation. Oftentimes, uploads inadvertently fail to reflect the requested information. No answers are submitted when accurate answers should be yes answers. Answering yes to a question regarding criminal history may prompt board review. However, report everything you can think of. That doesn't mean an application will be rejected. More likely, you will run into difficulty if something isn't reported than if you do, because you run the risk of submitting a fraudulent application. One common mistake in this area is failure to report discipline in another state. A good rule of thumb is if you think something in your history will come up on a disciplinary or criminal background check, report it. This information may or may not have any bearing on the issuance of your license or the timeline for issuance. Report this information anyway. Make sure you have the proper experience to apply. For mental health specifically, required post-degree work experience and supervision hours will only count towards licensure if the applicant is registered as a candidate listed here. You are currently registered as an unlicensed psychotherapist or practicing in an exempt facility as permitted. Choose wisely when reinstating your license. If you don't renew on time, you will need to be reinstated. While doing so, you need to make sure you choose inactive or active practice on the application. Be aware that choosing an inactive status will require a reactivation of your license when you choose to practice. So read this section carefully before proceeding. Ensure you are qualified to reinstate your license. If you've been expired for an extended period of time, you may need to take an exam to demonstrate competency in order to be reinstated. You will need to check the requisite Practice Act or licensee checklist to determine if this is applicable to your situation. If you don't take an exam to reinstate or provide verification of licensure in another state as required, it could slow the issuance process. Try to compress large uploaded files. If you have a large uploaded document to submit, such as a transcript, and it exceeds the website's ability to handle, it won't let you proceed. Please upload a Microsoft Word document stating you will email the document to dora_DPO_licensing@state.co.us. It will attach to your licensing application. You may also attempt to reduce the size of your uploaded file, depending on format. Please check dpo.colorado.gov/upload-documents for instructions. We expect our applicants to allow for processing times and not make commitments on employment, loans, etc. before a license has been issued. Applicants are processed in the order received to be fair to all applicants. All information regarding the application process may be found at dpo.colorado.gov on your corresponding profession or occupation subpage.